Have you ever had one of those weeks where you wake up already tired, your phone's in your hand before your brain is even online, you tell yourself, I'll lock in today, and somehow it's 11:47 and you're wondering where the entire day went? You're not lazy, you're not broken, but you feel out of control, you start things strong, you fall off, you overthink why you fell off, then you wait for motivation to magically come back so you can restart for real this time. And the worst part, you know what you should be doing, you just can't get yourself to do it consistently. If that sounds a little too familiar, yeah, that was literally my life. My name is Aiden, and I spend way too much time thinking about discipline, mindset, and personal growth. And if you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you're stuck in the same loop I was in. You start strong, you lose momentum, you rely on motivation, you fall behind, and then you beat yourself up for not being consistent. Look, if this video hits a nerve, do yourself a favor. Subscribe and like it. Not for the algorithm, for you. Because everything we talk about here is about building control, discipline, and long-term growth. Not hype, not shortcuts, not fake motivation. Now, here's the thing. This video isn't about some crazy 5 a.m. routine or waking up and journaling for 45 minutes while drinking lemon water and staring at the sunrise. It's about the one routine that gave me my sense of control back when everything felt scattered. And what's interesting is, it's way simpler than most people expect. Let's address the biggest lie in self-improvement right away. Motivation is not the problem. I know that sounds crazy because everyone says, I just need to get motivated again. But here's what most people don't realize. According to research from the American Psychological Association, motivation is highly state-dependent, meaning it fluctuates based on mood, environment, stress, sleep, and even blood sugar levels. So when you build your life around motivation, you're basically building your house on sand. That's why you can watch a video, feel inspired for 20 minutes, make a plan, and then completely abandon it 2 days later. Motivation didn't disappear, your system failed you. And that's where this routine comes in. There's something that blew my mind when I first learned it. Psychologists talk about something called perceived control, the belief that your actions actually influence your outcomes. Studies show that people with low perceived control experience higher anxiety, lower self-discipline, more procrastination, and significantly higher stress levels. In other words, when you feel out of control, your brain literally shuts down long-term thinking. You default to comfort, distraction, avoidance, short-term dopamine. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to protect you. So if you're constantly scrolling, procrastinating, or resetting your life every Monday, that's not a character flaw. That's your nervous system saying, I don't trust you to follow through. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Most people think discipline is about forcing yourself to do hard things, but discipline actually comes after trust. Think about it like this. If you had a friend who promised you something every day and broke that promise every day, would you trust them? Of course not. So why would your brain trust you? Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, I'll wake up early, I'll stop procrastinating, and then don't follow through. Your brain learns something. It learns, this person doesn't mean what they say. And once that trust is gone, motivation drops, self-control drops, and everything feels harder. So the routine that changed everything for me wasn't about doing more. It was about keeping one small promise every single day. Step 1, wake up and win the first 10 minutes. Here's what most people don't realize. The first 10 minutes of your day disproportionately influence how disciplined you feel for the rest of it. There's research showing that early wins increase dopamine sensitivity, meaning your brain becomes more willing to exert effort later. So instead of checking my phone, laying in bed, or negotiating with myself, I made my bed, I stood up, and I drank a glass of water. That's it. Now you might be thinking, that's too simple. Exactly. Because the goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to send a message to your brain. I do what I say, even when it's boring. That's control. Step 2, one non-negotiable task. This was the core of the routine. Every day I chose one task that represented progress in my life, not 5, not a to-do list. 1, something like writing for 20 minutes, going to the gym, studying a skill, cleaning one area of my space. And here's the rule. I was not allowed to do anything fun until that task was done. No social media, no YouTube, no distractions. Now, psychologically, this works because of something called temptation bundling, a concept studied by behavioral scientists. When your brain knows a reward is waiting after effort, it becomes easier to start. You're not relying on motivation, you're using leverage. Step 3, a simple daily reset. At the end of the day, literally 5 minutes, I asked myself 3 questions. What did I do right today? What did I avoid? What's the one thing I'll do tomorrow no matter what? No journaling essays, no overthinking, just awareness. Because awareness creates control. Most people drift through life unconsciously, reacting instead of choosing. This reset forced me to confront reality without shame, and that's important. Why this routine works when others fail. Here's the big difference between this routine and 99% of self-improvement advice. It doesn't try to change your life, it changes your relationship with yourself. According to research from Stanford, self-discipline improves fastest when habits are small, repeatable, identity-based. This routine checks all 3 boxes. Every day you complete it, you reinforce the belief, I am someone who follows through. And once that belief takes root, everything else gets easier. I remember one day, nothing special happened, no motivation, no breakthrough, no hype. But I realized something. I wasn't fighting myself anymore. I wasn't constantly negotiating. I wasn't restarting. I wasn't waiting for the right mood. I just did the thing. And that's when I knew control isn't loud. It's quiet, boring, unsexy, but it's powerful. Now you might be thinking, this won't work for me. My life is too busy. Look, if your life is busy, you need this more, not less. This routine doesn't add time. It removes chaos. Another objection I hear is, I've tried routines before. I always quit. Yeah, because you tried to overhaul your life instead of building trust slowly. This routine isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. Miss a day? You don't quit. You resume. That's discipline. Here's what happens after a few weeks. You stop relying on motivation. You stop overthinking. You stop needing external hype. You start acting from identity. And this is where it gets really interesting. Studies show that people who identify as disciplined experience less internal resistance, meaning tasks feel easier even when they're objectively hard. Discipline becomes automatic, not because you forced it, but because you earned it. Look, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you control. And no routine will work if you don't show up for it. But if you're tired of feeling behind, if you're tired of restarting, if you're tired of not trusting yourself, start small. Keep promises, build control. This routine didn't make my life perfect, but it made it mine again.